All right, now today we'll be going into web hosting. And when we talk about web hosting, what exactly are we talking about? Now, I'm just going to give you a quick definition into what web. Okay, you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now? How about now? Okay, cannot see it. I think it should be this network. Just a moment. Let me just change my Wi-Fi. What's it showing? Oh, I was not even sharing my screen. All right, so I've started sharing my screen now. Can you see my screen? Good. Now, I'm just going to give everybody a quick introduction into what web hosting is. Now, when we say web hosting, what exactly do you mean by web hosting? Now, web hosting is an online service that enables you to publish your website or application on the internet. To go with it, said web hosting is an online service that enables you to publish your website or web application on the internet. Now, you might be asking, everything that I've been building since my gym application, the Web3 that Mr. Wizard is building, and everything, how exactly are you going to publish it? How will somebody from another house or another location get access to my website? You understand? How is it possible for you to log into Facebook, facebook.com, and you're seeing facebook.com? And me too, I'm logging into Facebook, I'm seeing facebook.com. How is it possible? It is what? Web hosting. Now, it is like a server. I'm going to use two words. It's a server and a storage, whereby what your codes, not just your code, your project is stored and what's displayed. You understand? So again, a web hosting is where you would store your project so that you can have so that other people can also have access to it. Now they are not having access to your codes. No. What are they having access to? They're having access to the output. That's why you see that you have access to Facebook.com and not necessarily Facebook.com codes. Now, again, I'm going to come again. Web hosting is an online service that enables you to publish your website or web application on the internet. Allows you to save your website and store your website on on the internet or on a particular hosting platform, whereby they can now help you. Now, this is how it works. You have your hosting platform, you take your website, you store it there. They will now help you make it available to people online. So anybody in the US, the UK, even in Ghana can see your website from Nigeria. You understand? That is how it is. Now, for your website to be accessed, you have to host it with an hosting service. So you must first host it with an hosting service. Now, of course, there are certain people that are very good. They actually create their own hosting. They create their own host themselves. You understand? That's their own web hosting. They create it themselves. But that takes time. In fact, a lot of web developers don't do that. Basically, what you do is that you create your website, you find an hosting service, and then you host your platform there, both front end and back end. Now, front end has their own, they have their own hosting services. You have Render and you have some other ones. Then back end rather, they have their own hosting services. So you have Render and some other hosting services. Now, on the front end, you have some popular services, but probably you've heard of GoDaddy before, you've heard of Hostinger, you've heard of HostGator, probably heard of Vercel, Netlify. Those are front end hosting services. You understand? Those are proper hosting services, not just front end, web hosting services. Now, what do we mean by hosting services? Hosting services are organizations and companies that provide server space and services to store and make websites accessible on the internet. I think that's well explanatory. So what they do is that they provide server space, like I said, server and storage, right? So with that, you can now store your website on their storage, and their server will now make your website accessible on the internet. I hope it's clear to you now. That's why when you have that, it now becomes accessible online. So now we're going to be using a particular hosting service called Vercel, right? And why are we using Vercel? Now, as I said, we have examples of hosting services. We have a lot of them, and I think I mentioned them just now. So you have GoDaddy, you have Hostinga, you have HostGator, you have Namecheap, you have Vercel, you have Netlify, even GitHub is a hosting service. Why? Because you can host your site and it can become available for people to see. You understand? I'll also show us GitHub hosting very soon. So I want to first of all start with Vercel. I'll show us today. So now, but in probably if you are working on a much more bigger projects that okay, you want people to see, not just mini projects like this. So if you are working on a big application like an e-commerce application or something bigger, you want people to see it. Most of the times you will not be using Vercel. You'll be using what? Hostinga. But the reason why I'm not using Hostinga now is because Hostinga is you have to pay for it to use it, right? So I'm not going to be using Hostinga. I'm going to be using what? Vercel. Now, why am I using Vercel? I need to show you how you can connect GitHub and what Vercel together. How you can deploy from GitHub to Vercel. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to say. But before then, let us just go ahead and create a Vercel account. So I need everybody to open up your browser and go to vercel.com. So just a moment, let me try and go there myself. So we have Vercel. Just search for Vercel first. Vercel, Vercel, Vercel. So if you searched for it, you should see something like this. So you see build and deploy the best web experiences with AI. Just click on it. Now I want you to sign up because you don't have an account yet. Sign up. Now, if you are signing up, they will bring an option for you. Are you signing up with your email? Are you signing up? Do not sign up with your email. Sign up with your GitHub account. And there is a reason for that. Because you actually have to connect it to what GitHub literally. And as you can see, they're saying, are you working on personal project or commercial project? Choose personal because commercial project is what? Pro. You have to pay for it. So your name, you can write your name. So let's say my name is Paul or Levy. If I click on continue, as you can see, continue with what? GitHub. That's what I need to select. Continue with what? With GitHub. Click on continue with GitHub. Let me pause the recording here. Yeah, continue with GitHub. Sorry. So just search for